Hello YouTube, this is Billy Ray. So I want to talk a little bit about why I bought this AGT H12, more important, mini excavator. Alright, how I ended up with this machine, why I went with an excavator, and so on and so forth. So, I've been trying to find something that I can dig stumps out with, something I can use around the property to maintain my road and to help me facilitate them making a 3/4 acre so garden, little play area for my son, and then thinning out my woods so I can do a back to Eden food forest type thing with the inside of an established forest where the oaks and the pines are already established and we're just doing the underlayers. It's something I really want to try. And to hire somebody out to do it is god awful expensive. And with the way my property is set up, the only place I can burn is down at the bottom of the property in the gully. And I don't want to clear that down there. And I'd have to clear it to get 50-foot pines. Well, yeah, it's a hardwood, but 50-foot trees down in there without a lot of work. So it would cost me, upwards to 25 to 30 grand to do so. And then I would be unhappy with what I had because it would be, clear cut, and that's not what I'm looking for. So we started looking for machines, backhoes, front end loaders, things like that. And we're on a tight budget. And in this market, it is impossible to find a decent tractor with a bucket on it for less than 10 grand, let alone with a backhoe attachment. It's really, really difficult. And so after about a month of looking, we decided, after about a month of looking, I come up with a few options. One of them was a Termite T5C, which I'd much rather have had than this one. But unfortunately, the guy ghosted me, right? 1 minute he's good to sell, get everything set up. It's like a week later when I could actually get out there with the trailer, because that thing weighs about 4 grand. And my trailer is good for 2,200 pounds. And I really wanted something that was the right size, that would fit in my trailer so I could move it, because I got multiple pieces of property that need work. And, the other 2 pieces of property I have to do all the work I need to do to them, that's another 20 grand. So having a machine is a lot better than spending $45,000 to pay someone to come do it. And besides, we don't have that kind of money. We'll never have that kind of money. It'll just set fallow. So I found a couple of tractors that fell through. Found a Termite that fell through, which was an hour from where this was. Termite was 2.5 hours away. This one was on the other side of there, so I had to drive through there anyway. But like I said, the guy ghosted me. And everything I was trying to buy and look at didn't fit in my time frame. And it was sold, or said it was sold, before I got there. And so I started looking at bigger pieces of equipment, like Case 580s and, backhoes and 480s and John Deere 313s and stuff like that. Get late 70s, early 80s model ones for somewhere between 8 and 12 grand. Okay, but those things weigh between like 7,000 pounds and 10,000 pounds. And that's impossible for me to move. And, not to count all the work that I have to do on my land, I have family that has land. I have family that needs, trenches dug and things like that as well, and earth moved. And it just suits me a lot better to have something I can tow with a regular 1,500 pickup truck and a regular trailer. If I had to buy a double axle trailer, it might take a year or so to do enough side work to earn the money, because we're not putting any of our daily earnings from our job into this stuff. It's only money we can find through side work and flipping cars and things like that we can afford to do this kind of mess. So anyway, I was gonna go get a case 280 1965 is a 280 CK. It was $8,000. His front end loader backhoe, tractor with a backhoe attachment. Wanted $8,000. Talked them down to $6,500. The night before I was gonna go get it, they called me and said it was sold. But then the guy backed out on them a couple days later after I bought this. So oh well, whatever. All right. So anyway, I contacted that guy about termite again. Said, hey man, I'm going to be driving right through your town on this day to go look at this excavator. You're more than welcome to get me before I buy this thing, because I'd rather have the termite, because it's got a front end loader and it's a backhoe and it's more capable than what this is. And that was $10,000. And but Boss Man never contacted me, and so I picked this thing up for $7,900. And knew these things sell for about $10,000. It is Chinese, but it already had 16 hours on it when I bought it. And actually, it probably had more, because the hour meter was unplugged. And he said it's because the battery disconnect don't work, and it was just climbing hours and it didn't really have 16 hours on it. But who can you trust nowadays? So I don't really know how many hours are truly on it. And, I used it probably about 4 hours, that meter unplugged, before I realized I needed to plug the meter back in. So, really it's probably got around 20, 21 hours on it. And it seems to be doing okay. It's got some slight, quirks and issues about it. But, I was looking at this particular machine new, and I was thinking about buying it a couple months ago, but then I found other machines like groundhogs and a couple other where there's a lot more upgrades, right? A lot of upgrades, but those things run about $11,000, $12,000. And so I had to do some real serious thinking. It's like, do I want to buy one that's got a lot of the extra stuff that I'm really looking for, like hard lines here, upgraded pumps, better motors, stuff I can find, I can just call them and get, versus anything breaks for this. We're going to have to do the redneck engineering thing and just find something that works, because we're not going to be able to find the exact replacement parts for this. We're just going to have to make it happen. Fortunately for me, that's been my entire career of my adult life, is fixing shit and making it work. So, we're solid there. And so it really come down to, is like, all right, if I buy this groundhog or iron rhino, there's a couple other ones that are really good looking machines, man. They're really well put together, right? It's like I have the aftermarket access with them. I have parts access with them, and I also get pretty much the same machine, because the booms are the same, the track's the same, the bottom undercarriage is the same, the bodies are very similar. But where the big money comes in is their upgraded drives, upgraded pumps, upgraded cylinders, things like that. And it come down to it, for me at least, was the around $3,500 difference wasn't worth it to me for those upgraded things, because I figure the shit's gonna break, I'm gonna upgrade it as it breaks. Any machine you buy for $7,900, anything you buy, I don't care if it's a case, a John Deere, a Kubota, a Bobcat, whatever, anything, any piece of equipment you buy like this, an industrial piece of equipment for $7,900, is going to have its issues. You're going to have to work on it, right? It's not going to do the things you think it's going to do. It's always going to suck, and it doesn't matter who you buy it from, or what brand it was or where it's made. it's going to suck. The key things is finding parts, right? And something that was built in the 70s and 80s and early 90s is going to be just as much of a pain in the ass as to find parts for this. But the thing about that is, at least for the next couple years, these are common parts used in China. So Alibaba, I'm going to be able to find some parts. You know, might not be the exact thing, but I'll be able to find some stuff through Alibaba or through some other stuff. And I might be able to find, you know, drive motors and stuff that doesn't go to this type of machine at all, but is used on, you know, other pieces of equipment, different types of pieces of equipment, but will work on this and will be a better pump. So that's where my skill and expertise comes in handy when it comes to something like this. So, you know, yeah, we've already noticed problems. You know, that it heats up, it gets really hot after about an hour and a half. You know, after about an hour and a half, you know, you can start smelling the hydraulic fluid getting hot. And, you know, that's how this thing runs, drives, well, I mean, it runs through the motor, but the gas motor powers the hydraulic pump. And the hydraulic pump is how you go forward, backwards, move the boom, everything. So, you know, after about an hour and a half, you can start smelling the hydraulic oil getting hot. And so I've got some ideas about putting some fans on this thing and building some coolers and stuff. And I can do that kind of stuff. I know how to do those kinds of things. But I would have to do these kinds of things for a 30, 40-year-old piece of equipment anyway. That's my whole point. I tried to stay away from a machine like this. But at the end of the day, this is what I got. And we're just going to make the best of it. And we're going to use it. And I mean, and we've already started digging. You know, this is the fourth stump I've dug out. Like, you can't see now, the hole's fairly buried, but I mean, this thing's massive. It would have took me 4 to 5 hours to dig this stump out. And yeah, I could have took the chainsaw and cut it down and left a lot of that shit in there, but that's not the goal. The goal is to tear this stuff out because I don't want this stuff growing anymore. You know, this is a holly tree. And my property is littered with hollies, like absolutely littered with hollies. There's you know, that's a holly. They're everywhere. They don't serve me much purpose. They're good. So we want to dig those root balls out. We want them gone. Even inside of the forest that I want to keep, I want everything like this gone. You know, and a machine like this can help facilitate that. Also, with that said, something else that this machine will help facilitate is more side work. Okay, I already, you know, buy a couple cars a year and flip them. I'm already, you know, buy a four-wheeler here and there and flip it, so on and so forth. I already do, you know, carpentry work on the side and plumbing work on the side. I already do all these things, and it's lucrative, right? But one of the problems that I run into is I get to where, you know, there's just certain months that there's people that don't have no money and they can't pay me to do stuff. But something like this, where I can do small jobs, small French drains, you know, digging utilities for new construction and things like that. You know, new construction is going on all the time. You know, this can help me pick up a little bit of extra work in those hard times. You know, this can help add value to the side work I'm already doing, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of the stuff I already do, you know, it would be nice to have a piece of equipment out there to help, you know, especially when it comes to putting fences and stuff like that, and, you know, building storage buildings and stuff like that. An auger on this thing would be great, which I found one that I think will work. I just got to do enough side work to buy one. It's about $1,200, but, you know, I mean, these things, you know, it's, I think this is going to be a handy piece of equipment. I think it's really going to open a lot of doors for me. And the fact that I can move it with a trailer I already own, with a truck I already own, then I'm in good shape, you know, and it was $7,900. And you know, money is tight. You know, this was cash money, right? It took me a long time to put that kind of money together. And we have other stuff that we have to buy. Like you know, I bought a used wood chipper that I've already broke. Um, you know, doing redneck things with redneck equipment can get you broke. You know, but you know, at least it matches the excavator. You know, same color. You know, it's funny. I'm colorblind, but I can see yellow good, and I keep buying yellow things. It's funny. I had to tear this apart and figure out what I broke. But you know, these things sell for $800 new, and I paid $250 for it, and it looks brand new. Probably a pre-existing problem. I probably didn't actually break it, but it's probably why they sold it. We're just gonna see what we can redneck on this too, all right? But all this right here is gonna help me take care of all that right there. Make a nice little playground for my son. And then get the place wide open. But that's why I bought a mini excavator, and that's why I bought the specific one I have. If anybody made it all the way through this video, congratulations. You got more patience than I got. Y'all have good now.